Okay, so hello again. It is setup, post setup guide. My reward for all my hard work is I get the yap. No, my reward is being offered to go to a coffee shop and have some cornbread cakes. That's my reward in Brazil. that was fun. And the person who said that they watch my videos and they learn a lot. That was my favorite comment. All right, so like, it's not that I have like favorite comments or I think comments are dumb. Just like that is the kind of thing that I love to hear. That not my yapping has a purpose, but it ties into something we'll get into later. Let's just put it like that. So let's talk about 1.4. 1.4. We're playing Yingling Pass right now. Because I'm trying to figure out what's going on with this gas globe. This gas globe right here is getting... Something's happening with the Hedonite gas, where the Shirigen will fill up and the Hedonite gas is low. But then over here, the Cuprium gas is really high, and I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know why that's happening. It might be the separator cores, but that makes no sense. Anyway, I'm trying to figure that out. I think it has to do with the gas not getting in there soon enough, but we'll see. Because it doesn't happen to this side, so it's confusing me. So, that was a quick yap. Let's talk. Gas was very fun. This was a very fun AIC expansion. I really enjoyed working on this. I felt like I knew what I was doing, which is very important. Not because I feel stupid or anything, but I've done, obviously, a lot of factory. Some of you have been along for that ride, right? So I've been doing a lot of factory, and it felt like this was the time that I knew what I was doing, right? I was able to figure out kind of how these things worked, the pipe control units, even to the point where I figured out how to not use a lot of them. So you can see a lot of them are gone now. They're only using essential places like here, because I have to limit how this gets split, right? Here with the water, I had to limit that. Well, I didn't have to, I just don't want to cancel symbols. But like back here on the gas station, I figured out I didn't actually need them anymore. So all of them are gone back here. Even over here early on, I figured out that this is 18. I don't need to split or the control units, right? So I've gotten pretty good at understanding how those ratios work and how splitting things out goes. And this, I got to kind of flex that here of like, oh yeah, man, like I get to use one of my skills, you know, in the factory building. So that was really fun. It was a fun challenge to learn all that and then kind of fit it together, right? Luckily, gas works very similar to liquid. But this whole powering of the buildings thing presented a massive challenge of figuring out what it does and stuff. And especially this gas dispensing unit, which I hated at first, but I love this round boy so much. I just do. Look how round he is. Like, I thought I liked the gas reactor globe, but he's like round long. He's not round like this guy is. No, it's round. It's like a Luigi round. I don't know. Like, you put little eyes on his face on the front right here, where it says gas dispersing unit, like right above, like little eyes. He has a little top hat, and he gets mad and it's like, and some steam comes out of his head. All right, anyway, I liked that the factory got slimmed down. So let's go to Wuling City for a second. I talked so much last patch about how the real challenge of 1.3, the real content we got, was how do we use all that space? How do we use the space? Like, how do you optimize for space now, right? We had so little space. Like, it was kind of crazy. Look at this compared to, where is it? I saw it yesterday. Hold on, let me go to Imager. I'll show you what I mean. So like here, right? So like, look how full this is. I mean, obviously for mine, I don't use all the space efficiently, but I worked within my constraint that I was not going without, like, outside of these bounds, right? But this thing is packed to the brim, especially Marker Stone was out of control. I had some space I could get back. There's a lot of space here. There's too much, like, there's space here. This row right here, I could have gotten back. So, like, I had space to work with, but, like, I had that extra constraint on myself of, like, I'm going to work within the confines. So, that was pretty fun. And for me, that was like a self-imposed shot. I have some sweet and sour sauce on my tablet, on my Remarkable. That was like a self-imposed thing, right? I said I was going to do this. I saw a lot of folks on the subreddit who were like, oh my god, where must have put all this stuff? And it's like, bro, this is the time, man. We got a whole patch for you to figure this out. That's what the point of it is. Well, not the point, but that's what you can use it for. You know what I mean? Like, spend some time to figure it out. So, that was 1.3. So I liked that the reverse now was, okay, now you have a lot of space. What are you going to do with it? So if you've seen some of the maniacs, the straight maniacs, bro, they fit everything into this AIC. Crazy. Then I saw Joey, who's a reverse maniac. Yeah, like reverse racism. He was a reverse maniac, and he put everything outside of the Wuling AIC. I was like, this shit, these boys are cooking, man. What in the hell? So, I liked this whole slim down thing. I actually spent a lot of time trying to see what I could do with this area, this SC Wuling battery area, and I just forgot that I could just put these depot buses like halfway on. It just didn't even come to my mind to like use up these 2 blocks right here. But I'm glad I didn't do that because I really like how this looks. I like this a lot. So I'm glad I didn't do it. I like also that with the slimming down and the gas in general, that it affected old stuff. So like we got to come back and change how we got Sheeranite, how we got heavy Sheeranite. Technically, how you get Hedonite is also changed. You can get that with gas now. This little line I'm using over here for Aquagen is just kind of a meme, honestly. I don't really need this, I just have it. For my eco farm, but I could use that 6 a minute, really 3. I was limiting this to 3 earlier, but I have 51,000 Sheeranite, it's fine. But we could technically use that to make Hedonite down in Marker Stone. I could get what the hell? I could get rid of the. So I'm gonna get into that. It's possible to do, and it would use like less of the. I wouldn't have to use the crucible, which would save me some power, stuff like that. I'd have to use a small crucible to get liquid Sheeranite. That's the whole thing. I could technically make it in a separating unit here too, but yeah, that was fun. I like that it affected the old production lines, and we got the slim down stuff. I was so happy to get rid of that monstrosity in Marker Stone of 10 crucibles. It doesn't even matter if they were expanded or not, bro. It was 10 crucibles to make that damn thing. And some people did like 1.5 production lines of Hedonite, so they had even more reactors. I just chose to make the medicine instead because we already had so much stockpile, like stock builds. I was like, man, just make some medicine so you can swap between Yazan A and Jinkao. Like this way, you can make that last a little bit longer before you have to just dump some of it. Because I dumped a lot of stuff over those weeks. So it's also nice to be able to like not have so much of a stockpile of stuff this time around. Clearly. Oh, so there's also more coming with gas. Okay, so this dispersing unit has these different like environments, which I think is really cool, and I love these daggum symbols. I love these things a lot. I think they're so cool looking. Honest, I like these symbols. Like they even have like a little background symbol if you can see it, but see behind it. It's really cool. But there's clearly more coming. I think I saw like a small spoiler on NCAT. I'm not going to say it. And I don't know what it's used for, so we'll see. But there's definitely more coming. There's no way they introduce gas and then like all we're making is heavy Sheeranite and Pyrolite. Like we're not even making Pyrolite bottles or anything yet, and we still don't have 8C batteries. Did you know? Let me see if it actually tells us. I found this out today from a random Reddit comment. I was supposed to stay off Reddit, but y'all know me. I just like I get bored. Did you know this stands for Dagum high capacity, standard capacity, and low capacity? There it is right there. A skilled artisan can easily convert a standard capacity battery, an SC battery, low capacity. I was like, bruh, I did not know that's what those LC, SC, and HD stood for. So there you go. Now you know too. But there's clearly more coming. I thought we were like, I was kind of glad we're not done with Wuling because it feels like we're not done with Wuling yet. Like we just closed. Well, I won't spoil, but we just finished the story, right? And I was like, but this doesn't expect the ending for Wuling, so thankfully it's not. But there's more coming with Gas, and I'm excited to see what else we get. And we're gonna use up a lot. I'm sure they're gonna make us use some of this space again. Next is I hope they continue having the factory as a priority, as like one of their gameplay priorities. Like we're getting a lot of this combat stuff, and that's great because there was a dirge of dirge. Not dirge. That I'm thinking of dirge of not dirge of Cerebus. What is it when there's like a not enough? Yeah, not a dirge. Dang, it's not Dift either. Hold on, come with me to Thesaurus real quick. Oop, not the sewer. Like a lack of. It starts with a D. Defective minus deprived of. Kind of like deprived of. Bereft. Devoid. I think it's closer to the word bereft. Beggared, deprived, devoid. If I'm thinking of no, not devoid. Bro, I can't remember. If I remember midway through here or something, I'll freaking whatever. Anyway, but there was just a lack of combat content, so it's nice that we're getting a lot of that now. They had clearly already planned for that, because all this stuff, there's no way they made this stuff in the last like few months. I don't think so. So getting all that is really nice. I hope we get more of this puzzle stuff. Double of the Cryptic is still one of my favorite things they put in the game. But I hope that puzzles, and hopefully hard puzzles, like actual puzzles instead of like bing bong baby stuff that you see in the open world. I hope we get more of that. And quick. I've seen a little bit of discussion, because I just try and keep it out of my face, of like Echoes of War was too easy to clear. But like, yeah, bro, of course it was easy to clear. Like, we just got done with CC, and like, it's whatever. But the thing about it is that it doesn't have to be hard to clear. CC was hard to clear. I think different content can have different goals, and some of those goals are ones you can set for yourself. And so like CC being hard to clear at max is one kind of goal, but the Echoes of War, to me the fun is optimizing, like how fast can I actually do this and how smooth can I do it, as opposed to like I just clear from my weekly shekels and move on with my day, right? Like that's a chore. You're doing a chore at that point. You're not doing the content for fun. Now there's something to be said about the content's fun because it's too easy versus if it's fun because you're getting rewarded for doing it. That's a whole thing. But just, you know, I thought it was pretty fun to just do it. But yeah, I hope they keep the factory as a priority. Clearly I love it. But this is the most unique thing in any gacha that I've played so far, and I really want them to keep it. I have a lot of fun with it, and it makes my brain feel really good. So in this patch, I did a lot of optimization in a very short period of time. So getting stuff up and running wasn't too bad, right? Like, I got this done on, like, day 2, I think. I can't remember, y'all. It's in the videos. I got most of this done. This thing was kind of a late addition, and when I saw Kyostin's video, the overflow, and I was like, hell yeah, I want that in the build. But a lot of optimization happened in the back end, and so not really in Wuling City. More here in Markerstone and in Yinglung Pass. Now, especially Markerstone. So Saturday... Oh my god, Saturday. So Saturday, let me show y'all what I mean. Do I still have the pictures? I think I still have them. Yeah, okay, so this is what I mean. So the old marker stone looked like this. Okay, I think I've shown this a little bit before. This is what it looked like, alright? And the main thing is there's like some pipe stuff going on, but it's this conduit bank down here. Alright, there's 6 conduits that you would have to connect out in the back here. And I still kind of like that, honestly. But, but, let's be so fucking for real right now. 6 conduits, not all the same liquid, would have fried the fuck out of people, okay? I already know it would have caused too many issues. I know it would have. When I was doing it, I was like, this is going to cause issues. Go forward, this had 7 conduits you needed to connect here in Yingling Pass. I knew, and you had to set the gas station up outside of the AIC area. I knew this was going to fry the shit out of people, okay? And Lisara put out a post talking about how, like, they reduced a lot of their conduits. And at first I was like, no, make the base you want. If you're making something for other people, you have to keep your audience in mind, okay? Like, you just have to. If it was just for myself, it'd probably still look like this. But it's not just for me. I know y'all are going to be using it, right? So, I'm going to come back around to that. But I did a lot of optimization of getting a lot of this stuff out. A lot of this, how do I get all of this stuff out? Right? That became its own gameplay challenge. That was very fun, actually. How do I get rid of all this, right? And as you know, it turned into this, right? I went back to using the pipes because it's much easier for people to connect pipes. It's easier to see where they're going, how much stuff is connected, where it needs to go. And once you connect to the base, you don't have to do anything else, right? Way easier. So there are still conduits, but thankfully there's only 2, and you can connect either one to either conduit, right? So it was whatever. And I really liked this setup a bit more. But I did all of that Saturday morning in here. Oh wait, where's Yinglong? Hold on, where's Yinglong Pass? So also in Yinglong, I did some optimization. I've done even more since then, but I'm not gonna redo the blueprint or anything. I don't really have to. It's no big deal for the rest of y'all. But Yinglong had a lot of optimization put into it of getting that stuff out and stuff like that. So that's what you're seeing here. And I got better at making graphics, as you can see, when I did Yinglong, but I didn't go back and really put it into Marker Stone. But I learned the glow. The glow effect. I think I did do it on Marker Stone, actually. Where is Marker Stone? YPWC. Where's MS? Where's MS info? Did I glow everything here? No, it was not here then. Somewhere I did it. But I had to make a compass. I had to make this bootleg ass compass, man. Because I was like, I keep telling people north. Like, this is actually north over here. And I found this compass on my Wiki Commons. And I was like, whatever. I'll make the letters myself. So, but yeah, a lot of optimization was done. There. And part of that optimization was ease of setup as well. I wanted to have an ease of setup, so that was nice as well. But doing both of those leads to a rather unique gameplay experience, right? So kind of like the Echoes of War optimization, it led to me having to think outside the box now, right? How do I make this for somebody else with somebody else in mind, right? And so it wasn't about making it foolproof or like dumbing it down or simplifying it. Simplifying it is part of it, but those terms aren't accurate to the thought process I had or the feeling I had while doing this, right? Because those thoughts are like, oh, the people doing this are really fucking stupid and I have to do it at this level. Now there is a level to that. Don't get me wrong. There is a level to like, what is the audience and are they at what level are they at, right? So I wouldn't call y'all dumb. That's just mean. You're just not as good at factory as me, right? But a big part of it is you didn't spend a whole week doing all your free time doing factory. So yeah, you probably aren't going to be as good at it as me, right? Like, that's not an unreasonable thing. But the idea of like, you are stupid and you are bad, I have to build to your level. That's not what's going through my mind. What's going through my mind is being considerate of who I'm making this for, right? Like, Would I give somebody who doesn't like meat a freaking ham sandwich? No, right? So I was like, I have to be considerate of how I'm making this, who I'm making this for, and how I can make it better for them, right? Like, how can I make this build better for y'all without sacrificing some of what I like what I like about my build, right? So a good example of this is actually here in Marker Stone. There is an old version. Actually, it's right there. Hold on, let me get that picture. In this build, this is the old build. You see this line right here, this line of water, and this line of acid. So originally, I had this blueprint for the optional liquid shearonite and heavy shearonite to pull liquids from the stuff that was going to the fluid supply that was getting dumped, and you bloop, pop it on there, right? But when I redid the sewage, I couldn't fit that water pipe right here without moving this inlet somewhere else. But all the other ones are like this. All the other inlets are like that. And I refused to have this moved, right? I refused. And so I had to sacrifice functionality of you being able to easily get liquid shearonite and liquid heavy shearonite for my aesthetics. Because I thought, well, honestly, just run a long pipe over. Like, you can just run a long pipe over and get it. Now, this isn't out yet. It's not, I didn't put it out yet. But, like, I decided instead of sacrificing on my end, y'all can just figure it out. You can actually... Now, one of the challenges is we use up all the space here on this fluid pump. So you actually need to go right here and put a pump and a conduit down to get water back in. But I was like, they'll figure that out if they really want to, right? So... But that was part of like, okay, I'm not sacrificing my vision for this build for ease of use or something, right? For something that people may not even use. Like, who even needs heavy liquid shearonite anymore, right? But that's what I mean by like, I'm being considerate and making it better for you without sacrificing for myself. And that's the thought process I'm going to keep going forward with all of this stuff is like, I know I have an audience, I know they're looking forward to this, and how can I make it better for them? Because a lot of times, what naturally happens is making it better for you also makes it better for me, right? It's kind of this, like, thinking about... honestly, just doing stuff for other people is usually just a good thing, if I'm speaking honest. And it's kind of works really well here. Another thing is I was very proud that I reached a reasonable production on my own. And when I say reasonable, I mean just not max. There's a max production we could be doing. I found out from Bald Falk that you can actually plug in... Let me get rid of these. You can actually plug in the Zircon effluent from test air. You can plug it right into here. One of these two, it doesn't matter which one really. And this will cause your shearonite to back up. Your liquid shearonite backs up. And then you can save some shearonite by clogging your reactor crucibles. But y'all know me, I tried it and I came here and saw them red and I was like, not happening. I'm not doing that because everything too much stuff turned red. If just a crucible turned red for a while, it'd be fine, but too much. Like there was water, the water backs up, the shearonite backs up, I was like, nah, wait, that's too much. Not for 9 shearonite that I'm not even going to use anywhere, right? So, but for what I mean is like the 24 heavy liquid shearonite, heavy shearonite, the 12 pyrolite parts, the 1.5 hedanite and 15 batteries. Those things I figured out on my own, or I was already on the path to figuring it out. Okay. So, for example, I knew I had set up a heavy shearonite line pretty early. I was looking at it and I kept thinking, like, I think I can do 2 of these. Like, I'm pretty sure I can do 2 of these. And then I just saw someone say you can do 24. And I was like, okay, good. I was on the right track then. And I remember there was one video in one of the setup, the daily videos. I talked about how I wasn't sure what I was going to do with the cuprium. I was like, I got this extra cuprium, I'm not sure what to do with it. And I was thinking, I was like, man, I still have extra shearonite. Like, can't I do something with the gas? Like, I'm making hedanite gas. Can I do something with that? And so I was on that track and I saw somebody say like the hedanite parts. And I was like, oh, I can use a liquid. Like I can just use liquid still. I don't have to think in gas. So they didn't say liquid or anything. I just was like, oh yeah, I got that. So I was pretty proud of that. But next time I'm going to just try and stay away from any social media and Discords so that I can really figure it out for myself and see what I come up with. And when I get stuck, that's when I'll go and look at what people are saying, you know? Um, Okay, so I kind of showed this a little bit, but one thing I was happy about is that I'm getting faster and better at the quality of the resources I'm putting into the guide and the guide, or the document and the document itself. It did come with a rename this time. I did not like having my name as part of the build, but I also don't like just 1.4 Wuling build. Like mega, and I didn't like the term mega factory and stuff. Like, to me, a mega factory now is like the big factory in one area. That's kind of what I think of. But I just went with the B&B AIC factory, which is a play on words. Okay, it's a play on words. Like B&B is what I think of from fighting games, of like your bread and butter combo, right? So like it's the go-to, it's the easy, it's the one you default to. It's your comfort combo. You know, it's kind of the basis of your whole combo route, your bread and butter. But I've always had this whole like bread and bun thing going on, because like my name in Final Fantasy 14 was Cinnabuns, and I played a bun boy for Endwalker, but I ended up going back to an Elizin. But there's this whole like bread thing, because I actually got like the 10th spot culinarian for the Ishgard restoration. And so there's like this whole like Mr. Bun and like the bread, but also like a bunny boy, like a bun. So I kind of mashed together of like the bread and bun B&B AIC factory. So I like that now. That's the name, if anybody ever is wondering where it came from. But I realized this document is like, it's actually 28 pages. The last is me at work noting things down. But it's a long document, but it's one of those documents where it's not packed full of a lot of useless information. I think everything is pretty useful, and the document reasonably ends around like, I'd say like here, honestly, on page, what is this, page 12, and then everything else is like setup, but a lot of it's reference. You reference this, right? You come and get the blueprint codes, and then you're like following along once, but everything else is like stuff you're referencing. I should move these NCAD maps up, but whatever. And so kind of like how the video is really long, the setup video is really long, there's timestamps in it, right? And the point of that is because I wanted to make sure there's enough information for anyone following along, that you sit here with me for an hour and 13 minutes and 17 seconds. You sit here with me for this long and go through this setup process with me, and you only have to do it once. You do it with me exactly how I show you, and then your factory works, right? Now, you might run into some issues. They'll be on your end, no offense. Like, that's just usually what it is, right? Because I've tested the blueprints before, and I may have explained something wrong, but you know. But, and in that case, it's something you can fix, right? If it's you that mess it up, that also means you can fix it. We can figure out what's going on, and you can fix it. But the whole point of making these being so long is they're packed full of information. The timestamps are my like olive branch here of like, okay, so you may not want to sit through the whole thing. You may not need to know how to set up water. You might want to play this at 2x speed. You might need to just see this thing. You might need this reference here. Okay, good. Here you go. Right? Here's all your timestamps. You can use them to jump through the video and find what you're looking for. So that's kind of like what I'm sticking with. And keeping my like info, like these pictures. It's a lot of work. Oh, this is the wrong one. It's a lot of work to do these images, actually. It takes a long time. But I think it's worth it, especially because I know, shout out to my boy Used Scholar on Reddit. He's going to make it by hand in Asia. He doesn't share blueprint codes, so don't ask him, but I know he's going to make it. At this point, now I know, at least. I had a feeling he would. So I'm going to give him all the resources I can, right? So here you go. Here's all your resources, right? But it's also because if something goes wrong with your factory, you can have an actual image to reference, something to look at and say like, okay, kind of what's going on. What am I missing? Am I missing something? Did I do something wrong? Is my water wrong? So that by the time you have to come ask me, you've hopefully done what you could, right? So we reasoned out some stuff. And hopefully you don't have to ask me. The goal is that you actually figure it out yourself. Not because I don't want to help you, because I don't want you waiting for me. You don't want to wait for me, right? So that's part of why I do so much work and put so much effort and time and care, honestly, into the blueprints and the resources that go along with them. Okay, so some stuff about the future of the channel. So I'm not a YouTuber. This channel is not monetized. Look around. I have no plans to be monetized. I already have a job. I never want to join the rat race of YouTube and throwing out builds as fast as I can or whatever the hell. I'm not doing all that. I'm here strictly for the borderline autistic ADHD love of the factory, okay? That's why I'm here. But one thing I want to keep doing is doing more things for intermediate factory builders and players. Okay, so like I'm not very good at beginner stuff. I just won't be good at that. But I think I have a lot of knowledge about building the factory that I can share with people and help them build their own factory. Because that's actually what I like more. My hope is that even if you take my factory, that you can also reasonably modify it. But I would even love if people took my factory, they could modify it to be how they want. That's kind of what I would ultimately like to see with my blueprints. But in the meantime, so a couple of things I mean by that is stuff like I did this morning. Okay, here is what a production line should look like. Actually, I won't use that's a too easy of a one. Let's do like Pyrolite. I've seen people on Reddit getting tripped up by Pyrolite components, right? So like, okay, I'm not going to tell you how to make it, right? I don't want to tell you how to, I don't want to rob you of the joy of making a factory. But this is what it should look like, right? This is what your production should look like to make one component, like 6 a minute or whatever. So take a look at this and see, okay, what did I do wrong, right? It looks janky as shit. It's not accurate. It's not efficient or anything, right? It's not space efficient. It's not max production, but it is the correct production, right? So you can look at this and say, I can follow, oh, this is where I get Shearonite from. This is the Sheerogen or Energen, right? Oh, I don't know what that means. What does it mean for the Energen to go in the gas dispersing unit? I go figure it out. Why is this Sheerogen going into this side of the transmuting unit, right? So that's what I mean. It's stuff like that. And then like, how do pipe logistics actually work? Because you wouldn't believe that I had like some incorrect pipe logistics things going on earlier today when it comes to my conduits out in the field. I had a whole thing going on where when you put, where is that guy at? Here. When you put a converger at the entrance to a conduit or a building and it has 3 inputs, it gets real funky. Okay, it gets real funky. Conduits can move 120 a minute, gas or fluid a minute. They can move 120, so that's two gas pumps, or I'm sorry, 2 water pumps or acid pumps, or what is it, 6 high purity hydro mineral stuff, any hydro thing or vents. So what I did is I had put a converger, this converger right here, and I had the other 60 Sheerogen coming in on the side, and that was doing something really weird. So I woke up this morning with my production being down. This isn't in the build or the video. This is what I messed up on. And so I was like, oh man, I had to figure out, like, what did I do so wrong? I actually thought it was changing the gas depot, the gas station that I had made. I thought it was like taking off the limiters here, but that wasn't it. My math was correct there. It was actually the converger that was getting too much apparently. So, another 60 merging into the 40, so 20 plus 60. Other stuff is stuff like localized production versus delocalized production, right? So when I say localized, I mean like this. It's like this is a localized production. Everything is made here and then sent to the final product, right? My factory is a delocalized production, right? Cuprium's not made here. Sheernot's not made here. Like, I don't do a lot of localized production because it's a pain in the dick for me to build. I don't like it. It hurts my brain to do it that way. Which is what made Valley 4 so, like, hard for me. Because I couldn't do decentralized production. Or at least I didn't know I could, honestly. I'm not going to Valley 4. My Valley 4 is whatever. Also stuff like space conservation, right? So why do I only have one space here? Why is this a space up? Could it be a space down? Yes. How would I make this more compact? What else could I fit here? Why did my headphones just turn off? Did they run out of battery? Or what the heck? I think they ran out of battery. Oh, I don't know what happened there. Hold on one second. Battery, they just... Okay, I don't know what that was about. Anyway. Well, did 80% battery lift? So yeah, stuff like saving space. Why do I do this? Why is there's so much space here? Because if you... All this space I show, you all might think, like, oh, Senna has so much space, man. He's just not using space well. But part of using space well, in my opinion, is knowing how to... You have to know how to compact first to know how you can expand, right? Because if not, you're just wasting space. But this space isn't wasted. Like, this space out here is not wasted. It's just not used. That's it. It's just not used. But the whole time, I've always known that I could move. I used to have the conduit down here, right? The conduits used to be down here, and I should move them to like right here. But you could have always set up little depot unloaders right here and ran a belt all the way down. Well, not, and like into, honestly, like into a depot loader right here. Or like up and into the pack in the last build, right? I always knew you could do that, I just never said anything. Or even like here, I leave these two blocks open. I could technically smush all that in and then just move these down, but I just don't. I like the way this looks. But I want to teach that also. And then the last thing I wrote, this is some notes I wrote down real quick, some ideas, is I definitely want to teach, like, how do we know stuff like, how do people who make factory know stuff like, oh, I can make 24 heavy shear knight a minute, like 24 a minute heavy shear knight. How do I know that, right? How do I know we can do that? How do I know that those last two lines of cuprium I had equal something, right? How do we know this? How do I know this right here of 72 over 60 for Jinkow powder, while this is minus 12, but this is plus? How do I know that's okay? That's fine. That's something I really want to teach. I think that trips people up a lot when it comes to building the factory. And I think that's a rather, like, on the more advanced side of intermediate skills. So that's some stuff I want to do. Lastly, to kind of end this, I'm still working on not being in spaces about this game that are negative, overly negative. I did, like, this weird stint where I accidentally ended up in R-Gotcha Gaming, and it was about, like, the 1.4... patch preview special program, and people were like really mad at this game, and I'm like, why are you mad at this game? You don't even play it. Like, if you like, why? And I don't get it, because if I don't like a game, I don't go to talking about it. I just like kind of want to avoid it. Actually, I don't want to be in a negative space about that, but I don't want to read their stuff either, right? So I need to protect myself even more from that kind of thing. I do really good with like hiding threads that look stupid, and I'm getting better at like looking at a thread's title. I'm like, no, that's gonna piss me off. Let me not look at that, right? Because I need to be in a good headspace, because I have a lot of work to do on my factory, right? I don't have time to read numbskulls and their stupid comments, right? So I said that you guys aren't stupid. You may not be experienced at the factory. You might actually think you're stupid. You might actually be stupid. That might be true, all right? But you're not on Reddit. Maybe you are, but to me, you aren't on Reddit talking about a game you fucking hate, okay? That's stupid to me. So that's the kind of stuff I'm trying to make sure I avoid. And on top of that, I want to be a positive person when it comes to like a positive influence in this game's community, right? So when you see Cinnabuns or Cinnabunna or Cinna or Cinnum, because that's my old name, you're like, oh, that guy's cool. That's the unk that he might yap too much, but he's still cool. And it's not to like me. That's not the point. I don't give a shit if you like me or not. Well, Seto, you have to like me, but we're homies, so that's different. But the thing is that I don't want you to like, you shouldn't dislike me. I think that's a little ridiculous. You can dislike my content. But anyway, that's too much. But the point is, I like the game. I want to talk about it. I want to be in a positive headspace about the game. And, like, there's a lot of negative voices about this game. And I can be a positive one. So I will be. But I will not be delusional. My note says positive yapper, but not delusional. So like, I'm not delusional about this game's problems. I just don't talk about them all the time because I like the game. I like it. So like, I just try not to harp on things I hate about games, because if I hate it enough, I'm just not going to play anymore. Sounds the point. What I mean by delusional is stuff like, okay, I love the factory, but y'all have heard me talk about this before, and if you haven't, you're about to hear about it now. I think the factory needs a simulation space. Okay, I think it absolutely needs a simulation space. Even if you can't export blueprints out of there, you still need we need a simulation space for people to play around and figure out what's going on. Okay, even better if we could design our own little challenges for people to help them learn factory. But that's asking a lot. I'm not actually expecting that, like, at all. That's just some thoughts. I'm gonna play this while I finish the yap. I meant to do this earlier and I forgot. I kind of progged through this. I want the last bit though. Where am I fighting big boy at? Yeah, boy. I got a 48-second clear on this shit. I never got it again. I'm not sure how I got it. Alright, I think it's this one. I start fighting that guy. Alright, so I'm gonna let this play while I yap. But I don't want to be delusional. So, like, I think we need a factory simulation space. I think the recipe tree is god-awful. Absolutely awful. I think there's a lot more, like, complexity they can do. I would like more complexity. There's a lot of stuff I like. I would like for the game to have. But, that's just stuff I hope to... Actually, why am I playing this? I need this. This is my back. This is B-roll footage for another video. Not this one. Not this one. I've been showing factory running around, so we're gonna stay with that for now. Because I'm actually almost done. But that's the kind of stuff I would like to... I'm not going to be delusional about the game's problems, right? Because I think that's even... Positive toxicity is even worse, right? We can acknowledge the game's faults without being ridiculous and dogpiling it and stuff, right? But we have to acknowledge them, right? Like, we just can, and we have to. So that's my yap. That's my post 1.4 setup yap. I like the little community that comes around for the build videos. When I saw Eduardo message me, I was like, hey, there he is, he's back. Because I was a little mean to Eduardo. I was a little upset that day that he was like, what's the conduit route? And I was like, this little motherfucker will figure this shit out. Because I had just spent all this time doing the video. And then I did a route for him anyway, but like it was like weeks later, so. But I felt kind of bad about being so mean. I think I apologized. And then like Lay Alexandra, I think, came back. There's some of the usual suspects like Edi, I know. And then people who like speak as if they've watched me for a while, they'll comment, and I'm like, what the heck? How long have you been watching me then? Like, like what the? So that's kind of cool to see that, like, okay, some people are vibing with what I'm doing, and that's what I'd like. Y'all come and vibe with me, you know. Even if sometimes that vibe is a lot of yap. But yeah, sometimes I'm an unk, man. All right, I'm 38. When you get over like 33, there's this transition period where you just start yapping about stuff, man. You just got stuff to say. Me and my best friend yap to each other all the time. So, but that's it for the video then. I might make a second part to this, but I really want to start on that. Oh, last thing, I have another project I'm gonna do. Okay, so I know I'm talking about making beginner stuff, but I have this project I want to do because I realized at the end of one of the videos, I think it was the end of day 6 or 7, I realized my factory is built in such a way that every product is made in the zone you're introduced to it in. Okay, so like Sheeranite and batteries are made in the core AIC area. That's where you learn that at. Planting, well, Sky King Flats is kind of whatever, but planting and shredding is done in Sky King Flats. That's kind of just an extension of Wuling. But all of the Cuprium production, Zircon production, and Hedonite production is done down in Marker Stone, and then all of my gas stuff is done in Yinglung. And I was like, hey, wait, with how I've designed this base, I could reasonably make like minor blueprints for people to go through different tiers, the different tiers of Wuling City, of Wuling, and like progress their factory as they move forward, right? Like, that would be really cool, right? So I started writing down some notes on that. Oh, this is why I was gonna do this video before, but then I forgot. So I've been taking notes on this. Wait, where are my big notes at? Because I had more. Oh, they're further back. This is the organized version of the notes. I don't know where they're at. But anyway, the point is, I'm looking into doing something like that. And like, okay, here are your blueprints for this and this. And like, when you have this much ore yield of cuprium, you can put this down now. And you can start making more, right? Because we know like Hedonite doesn't clog. So you can like put this part down now. You can add on like, don't melt it on. And as they progress, they can keep adding on. Because the buses mostly stay the same, right? So... that's something I want to do. Like, I don't know if you even realize that down in Jingu Valley, I don't think I actually moved this bus anywhere. This depot bus. It's actually in the same spot as before. I think I did move it to the left a little bit. I think it might move to the left. Because I think, yeah, because I have 4 rows of planters. So this moves to the left, but I can easily design this, like, just move it over again. You see how much space there is. And by the time somebody gets to this part, they're going to have to redo their whole build anyway, right? So, I don't know. I'm thinking, but they only need this, actually. Like, they're making carbon or something. Or making plants, so like the refineries may not be here. Or maybe I'll just do it with carbon, right? I just leave the carbon here. And then they'll use that to make their Forge of the Sky stuff. So that's what I'm thinking about doing. I think that would be a really cool thing for the community to have. For players who get to Wuling and they're like a little overwhelmed by what's going on, but they don't want to stop playing. And they do want to do their own factory, or at least have some involvement, right? Because if you don't, just go use a fucking blueprint, I don't care. But for those people who are like, I want to do factory, but it feels like a lot, and I'm kind of having a hard time, I would like to have this there to kind of like ease them in, right? Like, here's how you make Sheeranite, right? I'll teach you how to make Sheeranite, but I'm not going to teach you how to make all the Sheeranite. If you want to do that, you got to spend some time yourself, but you'll see the basic way to make it, right? And then like, oh, I see how cuprium's kind of made. How do I expand this though? You know, so that stuff like that. I think that'd be a really cool thing to do. So that's another project I want to work on. Because I'm kind of hoping 1.5 isn't another big AIC patch, so I can kind of have time to do that. Okay, that's all. That's all for now. My best friend and I are supposed to play video games, so I'm gonna go play with him in Marvel Rivals. Bye.